Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking about the VCT Champions Grand Final, which happened today. And it is official, Evil Geniuses, coming from one of the worst teams in North America at the start of the season to finally becoming your VCT World Champions in 2023. What a story, and what a run by EG. Personally, I wanted Paperex to win this game. I am from North America, so Evil Geniuses, I did like them as a team, and I do like them as a team. And I thought either way, the story of whatever team wins is great. You have Paperex, who have this last dance feel to them, with Jane having to go to military service after this year. Then we have Evil Geniuses, who were, as I said, the worst team in the Americas League at one point during the season, and then they get to a grand final in Tokyo, and they lose, and then supposedly they would have the second place curse coming into Champions. Second place curse is now dead. And honestly, good riddance. It was a really annoying curse. It was really annoying to see teams get second place and then go into tournaments and you pretty much just know they're going to lose. So very glad to see that has changed. And personally, I picked EG to not go very far in this tournament, not because I didn't think that they could, but because of the second place curse, and I was burned during Tokyo when I picked Loud to win that, and instead they didn't win a single map. So I went with it this time, and I guess that's just how it works now, where whatever I think is going to happen is just the opposite of what actually happens. So kind of glad, honestly, that Evil Geniuses won, but I just feels terrible for Paperex, who really, they've gotten so close twice now. They've gone to 2 grand finals. This iteration of Paperex is no more. At least we won't have Jane. We'll see how the rest of the roster shakes up. I would think that Cigarettes probably comes into the team and the full roster. He did prove that he is capable of a full-time role at Masters Tokyo, so I can see him being the substitute for Jane. Are they the same player? No. Is he as good? No, but I do think that that would be at least a decent replacement if he can fill the roles that Jane fills, which is Raze. But we're not going to get into what is going to happen during the offseason right now. We're here to talk about today and the match that happened today. It was a 3-1 victory for Evil Geniuses. Really hoped that this was going to go to a 5th map. This was such an exciting grand final, and even though it was 3-1, this was a very close grand final, except for one map, which we'll get to. But overall, this was one of the best grand finals I've seen in Valorant so far, if not the best. It was very exciting. The stories around both of these teams was very good and really added a lot of tension and a lot of weight to the result of this match. So let's get right into the maps, and the first one was Split, which was picked by Paperex. Now, what was interesting about the first 3 maps of this match is that whichever team picked the map lost. Split was Paperex Split, and it was said by the casters that Evil Geniuses weren't looking as good on Split during this tournament as they were on other maps, so it should have been at least a decent chance that Paperex won it, and they've been pretty good on this map before, but it did not go their way. EG won the pistol and then won the bonus, and then Paperex won 3 in a row, and it looked like maybe this is going to get away from Evil Geniuses, at least for this first map, but then they trade rounds back and forth, and then 4 in a row from Paperex to end it. And at this point, it looks like the Paperex does have a pretty good grasp on this map and should be able to close it out in the second half, but that does not happen. EG wins the second pistol. They win the bonus, they lose the next one, Paperex winning on a thrifty there, and then it's 6 in a row for Evil Geniuses, and then PRX wins one, but then just loses another, and the first map goes to Evil Geniuses. They came out swinging. Evil Geniuses was just not losing this match. Looking at the stats, we had Divine be the best on Paperex with 15, 15, and 7 with an ACS of 197 and a VLR rating of 1.08. Then we had Something, who went 16, 18, and 4, -2, with an ACS of 197. 0.99 was the VLR rating. Forsaken went 17, 18, and 10 with the ACS of 223 and a rating of 0.98. Mind Frequent 16, 17, and 5, -1, ACS of 171, and a rating of 0.94. And Jane not starting strong, he went 13, 20, and 6 for -7, 208 ACS, and a 0.79 rating. So no player on Paperex going positive on their kill-death ratio for this match, which doesn't really tell the whole story because they did get to 10, they did make it close, but EG just really came out strong in that first map. And we can see that in their stats. Demon 1, who was an absolutely insane player this entire tournament, especially in this match. He went 27, 14, and 1 for plus 13, an ACS of 303, and a rating of 1.49. Incredible numbers from him right there. Jogmo, who went absolutely insane today. He went 25, 15, and 5 for plus 10, an ACS of 287, and a rating of 1.28. Busio went 16, 17, and 10 for minus 1, 212 ACS and 101 rating. Came out kind of slow, but recovered later in the map. Ethan went 12, 16, and 16 for minus 4, ACS of 154, and a rating of 0.90. And Calm, who started pretty slow today, he had 8, 15, and 5, but he would do well later on. Minus 7 with an ACS of 111 and a rating of 0.62. Really strong performances by Demon 1 and Jogmo. Busio also played okay, and this team just came out swinging right away. And then we went to their map pick, which if they went up 2-0, I don't know if Paperex would be able to recover from that. I know they have reverse swept before, but in a best of 3, Evil Geniuses winning on Paperex map pick and then winning on their map pick, that would have spelled disaster for them right away, but that is not how that went. Paperex coming out strong, winning the first 4 in a row, and then EG won 2 in a row. Paperex won 2 in a row for EG, and then they trade rounds for the rest of the half. And then EG wins the pistol. EG was really good at pistols today, and that was one thing that I noticed. Paperex won on a thrifty, and then 2 in a row for EG again. 4 in a row for Paperex, and then they were at map point. It seemed like EG might be able to get it tied and go to overtime, but that did not happen. Paperex wins, no overtime for map 2. In terms of stats for this match, we have something topping the leaderboard for Paperex. He had 25 kills, 15 deaths, 2 assists for plus 10, ACS of 275, and a rating of 1.49. Next up, Devi, who went 24, 14, and 13, plus 10, and an ACS of 254, rating of 1.42. Then we had Jin, 20, 22, and 3, minus 2, an ACS of 272, and a rating of 0.98. Much better game from Jin there, doing his part to help his team win. Forsaken went 12, 16, and 8, minus 4. A bit of a disappointment there. ACS of 142 and a rating of 0.89. He was a smokes character though, so whatever. The Mind Freak, who did not have a great game, he went 6, 18, and 8 for minus 12, 0.60 rating. Then on the EG side, we have Ethan topping the leaderboard with a pretty good performance, 18, 16, and 15 for plus 2, ACS of 192 and a rating of 1.05. Busio went 19, 19, and 8, 0 on the plus minus, ACS of 246 and a rating of 1.04. Calm had a solid bounce back game. He went 21, 19, and 5 for plus 2, ACS of 249 and a rating of 1.03. And then Demon 1 went 16, 16, and 4, kept a bit at bay by Paperex here. Plus minus was 0, ACS 189, and a rating of 0.92. Next up, Jogmo, he went 11, 17, and 11 with an ACS of 140 and a rating of 0.78. That was his worst game of the match, but he had a dominant performance in the map before, and then the maps after this, he really, really did well. And then we have Bind, which again was Paperex's pick, and they did lose it. They did not look good on this map. It was 13-5 final score for EG, just really bringing it to them. EG wins the pistol, and then they win 2 in a row after that. Paperex does get 1 round win in there, but they only win 3 for the entire first half, as EG wins 4 in a row and then 2-0 to end the half. Paperex does win the pistol, so it looks like maybe they could recover here and get some ground, but it just didn't happen. EG wins 4 in a row, and that is Bind. Something yet again tops the leaderboard for Paperex, who went 11, 15, and 8, minus 4 on the plus minus, ACS of 178, and a rating of 0.95. Mind Freak went 10, 14, and 9, minus 4, ACS of 172 and a rating of 0.86. Forsaken went 9, 15, and 6 for minus 6, ACS of 160 and a rating of 0.72. And Devi went 8, 14, and 9 for minus 6, ACS of 138 and a rating of 0.71. Jane went 11, 17, and 6. Another disappointing performance by Jane. He did have some rough maps in this match, and that is unfortunate because this is, at least for now, his last game of professional Valorant. He went 11, 17, and 6, minus 6, ACS of 188, and a rating of 0.70. There's also a bunch of other stats that you can see on the board. I'm not going to go through all of them because that's just too much, but you can see them all here if you like. And then on the EG side, much better numbers for them during this map. Jogmo, as I said, Really good performance. Tops the leaderboard with 23 kills, 12 deaths, and 4 assists for plus 11. ACS of 360, a rating of 1.56. Really dominant performance by Giacomo here. Calm with a solid performance. He really broke out this tournament. I didn't notice him too much in previous tournaments, but man, he really made a name for himself during Champions. He went 18, 7, and 4 for plus 11, ACS of 246, and a rating of 1.50. Demon 1 on the chamber went 13, 5, and 2. Maybe a bit low for what he would have expected, but his team was just kind of running around Paperex, so it doesn't really matter. He was plus 8 with an ACS of 183 and a rating of 1.38. Ethan went 10, 10, and 5 with a plus minus of 0 and an ACS of 145 and a rating of 0.93. Boostio went 11, 15, and 9 for minus 4, ACS of 179, and a rating of 0.89. So not as good as a performance from Boostio, but his calling clearly worked, and he didn't really have to do too much in comparison to the rest of his teammates. And then we have the final match of VCT 2023, aside from off-season tournaments, of course, and that is Lotus. And this was EG's pick, the only map of this whole match where the team that picked it won. It was a 13-10 win, so it was pretty close. Paperex really did well. They just could not bring it home, and it is unfortunate that this iteration of Paperex never won anything. They did get very close, and I think expectations were maybe not this high at the beginning of the season, especially when they opened and they did not look very good, but they really recovered and had a great season. And they made it all the way here, and unfortunately, this is the last game of this iteration of Paperex. We'll see what happens in the offseason. But anyway, they did win the pistol, they win the next round, and then the teams trade rounds for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then EG wins 2 in a row, Paperex 2 in a row, super even half there. And then EG brings the fire on the second half, winning 4 in a row, including the pistol. And then Paperex won 2, 3 in a row for EG, 1 for Paperex, and then EG just closed it out. And that was the match, and EG became your Valorant World Champions. For the scoreboard, Jane really did have a good performance here on this last map. I really feel bad for this guy, but he went 19, 18, and 5 for plus 1, ACS of 268, a rating of 1.20. Then Forsaken went 16, 18, and 7 for minus 2, ACS of 197, and a rating of 0.91. And Devi, he went 14, 15, and 4 for minus 1, ACS of 156, and a rating of 0.90. Something not as good as a performance here. He went 14, 18, and 4 for minus 4, ACS 177, and a rating of 0.80. Mindfreak went 14, 18, and 7, minus 4, ACS 182, and a rating of 0.77. And then on the EG side, we had much better numbers. Demon 1 really wanting to end it on this map. He went 23, 13, and 10 for plus 10. He had an ACS of 244, rating of 1.43. And he said after the tournament, after they were giving the interviews, he said, "I'm the best player in the world, F the haters," all this stuff. Man, he really might be the best player in the world, especially after this performance, and Tokyo as well. This man has put together quite the resume early in his career. Jogmo with another insanely good performance. He did get the most kills of EG for this map. He went 26, 18, and 5 for plus 8. ACS of 338 and a rating of 1.26. Boostio went 16, 16, and 1 for plus minus was 0. And ACS was 198 and a rating of 1.09. Ethan, 13, 17, 15 for minus 4. ACS was 180 and a rating of 0.86. Calm, 9, 13, and 8, minus 4. ACS of 118 and a rating of 0.86. And it really just felt like Paperex, they were really playing well throughout most of these maps, aside from Bind. They were playing really structured and they were making some really insane plays, but it just felt like EG was just winning in the big moments. What was so impressive about EG's performance this entire tournament was the fact that they weren't just getting carried by Demon 1, or it wasn't just Boostio's calling, or it wasn't one player just dominating and just being clearly like the best on the team at all times. No, they had some insanely good performances. Demon 1 is their best player, I will give him that. But I mean, look at each one of these scoreboards. He was top fragging, or at least top of the leaderboard in terms of rating. He was top of the leaderboard for 2 out of 4 of these maps, but we had Jogamo also being at the top in terms of rating, same with Ethan. So this was a team effort, and Calm made some insanely clutch plays, especially yesterday. He was just a clutch master this entire time. So it wasn't just one player. It wasn't just one map or one style of play. They were able to adapt really well. They were able to have their players play really well in big moments, even when they got pushed to the brink after losing in a very, very close match in upper finals. They bring it all together, and here they are. And for Paperex, again, they played well, EG just played better, and they just were not planning on losing this game. They definitely were hungrier. They wanted it more, especially after losing in Tokyo. They definitely wanted to fix that and win a tournament here. And North America, we're back, baby. North America finally wins a Champions. North America has now won at least one tournament in every single year of the VCT so far. So take that, haters. Get wrecked. Got them. And Pacific, still, there is no trophy for any Pacific team so far in Valorant. No Asian team has won. Paperex has now been the closest to doing so twice, but it just hasn't happened yet. Maybe this team can win next season. I do think that even when Jane leaves, this is still a very solid roster. If they keep most of it together, we'll see if there's any other changes coming, but, you know, they still have something. They still have Forsaken. If something stays, he might leave the roster as well. Again, we'll see what happens. We don't know yet, but if this roster does stay mostly together, I can see them going to another grand final. They got very close without something in Tokyo, so this team can definitely do something. As for EG, I don't think they're going to make any roster changes after this run. Why would you? Every single one of these players has proven that they can be clutch, that they can really show up during big games, and as a unit, they are just absolutely incredible. So highly doubt there's going to be any changes there. Maybe there is. Maybe some player's contract is up and they might want to move on, but I kind of doubt it. I think after the run that they've had, they're going to want to stay together and prove that they can continue to be the best. Anyways, that is it for today's video. Thank you all very much for watching. The VCT season is now over, so I will be doing off-season videos about each team. Maybe not every team, but I will be doing season debriefs of a lot of teams, especially the most interesting ones, and talk about what I think is going to happen to each of these teams and what the roster is going to look like next year. There'll still be a lot of content coming, so keep watching, subscribe, like the video, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.